Hey guys, what's up? It's La. Today bringing you another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today, I'm just thinking right now, I don't know, it must be pretty rough to not have a weekend. As I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who don't. Because of the way jobs are now. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't have a consistent weekend, and it's you work a few days, but then you have a few random days off sprinkled throughout the day. It's not, you know. Yeah, I don't know. And having the 2 days off in a row, I think is kind of important. And I've said before, I've kind of wanted to work 6 days a week, probably, just for money reasons and because I'm obviously a bit of a workaholic. Personally, I don't know, I don't really see but yeah, I'm not sure. A proper weekend is nice, but it's a luxury. It's a luxury in this day and age. It's not something guaranteed to anybody. Now, there's a couple things of note this weekend. There was a guy, and I saw him like kind of hunched over, sitting on a bench on his phone. And I don't know, I guess maybe because of the time the time period I'm from, back in my day, somebody would be playing a game on their phone, and you could kind of see what they're playing, and there were a good amount of pretty interesting mobile games back on the original iPod 4, iPhone 4. There was some cool stuff, but there was a pretty big mobile gaming culture, and there were some genuinely good games. It wasn't all cheap junk. I mean, it was pretty cool. But regardless, so I just think that's what he's doing, because I'm just kind of used to that stereotype, maybe. But of course, when I walk over past him or whatever, he's just on TikTok. And that really made me realize something. It made me realize that I miss the days where people actually did things where there was a conversation to be had about it. Where you do something and it's somewhat long form, and for example, it's a game that you can tangibly talk about, and it's tangible that you put effort into it, or you're like this far in the game. We might have to go back a little further than mobile games to really have the full grasp of that, sadly. Like, I think it was really on the true consoles where you had games where there was true progression. I mean, there's a lot of games now, like, the main thing I never liked about League of Legends is that you don't really have long form progress. It's just each game you're kind of starting from scratch, and then that's it. Then at the end of the game you just reset, and I guess you do have different level up. It's the same with Fortnite. There's not really long-term progress, and then even at the end of Fortnite the season just resets, and it's like a constant competitive rush. It's like you constantly have to be playing. There's no, you know what, maybe I just cracked the code with that, because this whole time I've just been thinking it's just been something I personally don't like, but I think that's the point. Because even though it's definitely worse, and I think I'm well aware of that, I think most people probably are, that it's just worse. What it's doing is it's making it so there's this constant rush to keep playing, because you don't you want to be able to get in the next season, and next season you want to get ahead. That's what I'm saying, and it just makes it more addictive, I guess, for people. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe that. So I think that's very interesting. I don't know why it took me so long to figure that out. It seems like a pretty standard, straightforward kind of thing. And I just always thought it was just a me thing. It's definitely not just a me thing. It's a everyone thing, I'm sure. Sure everybody feels that way. I don't know why I just said that. I meant to say it's just like a corporate grab kind of thing. But it's changed so much. I mean, there was at least character. I felt like back in the day, a gamer, people knew what a gamer was. Yeah, I know I'm not just seeing things. I mean, when I was younger and people played games, like, people talked about it. Oh, like, what are you doing? Oh, you're playing a game. But now with a phone, I guess since a phone's so open-ended, there's no, like, people aren't really asking, like, oh, what you got there? What, like, people just don't even say anything. It just seems like. Then there's people like my grandparents where they only had flip phones, so they didn't even have any tech, but then now they do, because they obviously eventually got smartphones. Everything just changed so much, man. I can't believe I'm like the only person who remembers that. And am I stupid for reminiscing over it? Is that just something that should be stuck in the past? I don't know. It's really odd. Or who's more, is it odd that I notice or that I care? But yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I really miss those days where there was, there was the gamer. I don't really think the gamer exists anymore. And I'm tying this into what I'm going to talk about next, which is kind of, I feel like I'm going through a pretty strange point in my life. I'm obviously pushing the limit and really pushing as far as I can when it comes to, how long I'm working, as well as how long I'm working, as well as doing the car ride show. I'm really not sure how much more I could actually do, because even as is, it's kind of like I don't have a lot of time to myself. I am pretty much the 5 days of the week. I mean, it's pretty much come home, get my food ready for the next day, and then there's really not that much time to really do anything. That's just how it is at night. And then in the morning, it's the same thing. There's not like a lot of time. So I don't know how much more I could even work. Because I had been doing 12-hour shifts last week, and then with the commute. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how much more I could. I might be reaching a personal limit, although it would obviously be different if work was like a short walk away. Maybe I could do like a 13-hour shift, but I'm not sure how much more I could do. I think I'm approaching my personal limit, That's what I think. I think I'm approaching the personal limit. Which is, I mean, that's saying something, because that means I could consistently do mid-50s hours a week if I wanted to. Which that's definitely, that's no slouch. a lot of people probably just couldn't do that. I'm assuming. Like, I don't really think that's anything to scoff at. And I'm always confused because I do know a lot of people struggle. I want to kind of vet the statistics about it a little better. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm working 2 jobs, this, that. But I wonder about really vetting the statistics, because it also seems like there's a lot of people who aren't particularly working that much, and they're only working in the 30s hours-wise. So, I don't know. Kind of think that's something to take note of, I suppose. Like, I want to know, like, a clear, like, what percentage of people are actually struggling with the 2-job thing, and how many people, is it kind of a hard limit where, like, the 40-hour standard is their limit, and they would never really want to go past that, the 40-hour-a-week standard. Because we know humans did a lot more in the past, so, I mean, it's not impossible. We know it's not impossible, but I just wonder how many people nowadays can really handle that. I know, because I was looking into it, it's only like 10% of people work 50 hours a week. So I'm already pretty much in the upper percentile for sure. But even that seems kind of crazy to me, because 50 hours just doesn't seem that crazy. I don't know if that's just me or what that is, but 50 hours is not insane to me. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of people have worse jobs. My job, the pay isn't that good, so it's comparable to that. It's a lighter job. But some of it's just luck. I don't know. I obviously think in the future we're going to find better ways to equalize the load, hopefully. I mean, I do think there's going to be that upper... Again, I think there's going to be a lack of a middle class. There's going to be an upper and a lower class. And the upper class, it's probably only going to be 5% or even like 10%. I don't know. The upper class doesn't need to be very open or welcoming. I don't think it will be. But what I mean is, of the lower class, I think work's going to be distributed fairer, probably. I mean, maybe this is a little optimistic. I guess I'm not making a prediction, because I haven't thought about it enough to know if what I'm about to describe is more or less likely. But what could happen is, right now, I think I've explained this before, let's say as a baseline, every human in society has to work 40 hours in order for standards to be met. It's probably not that. It's probably lower, but just for the sake of the argument. Everybody has to work 40 hours. So if you have 10 people and all 10 work 40, then that works, right? But if you have a group of 10 people and 5 of them work and 5 of them just don't work at all, then obviously one of the 5 who do work would have to work 80, because they'd be having to get 80 hours worth of work done per person to compensate for the other 5 working 0. So that happens in society, right? Some people are ridiculously luckier than other people, where they may have an easier job and get paid the same, sometimes an easier job and get paid even more. I mean, usually it's a easier job and you get paid slightly less, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit crazy. It's not really fair, but there's not really a way to regulate that, because it's a lot of metrics that are difficult to gauge, such as value per dollar. Don't know if everybody's thought about that or not, but if your job's really easy and you're making $12 an hour, that might be a pretty good value versus if you made 15 an hour but your job was horrible and you didn't even want to wake up in the morning to go to. You see what I'm saying? So that is the thing. That is the thing about all this stuff. And I think AI could fix that. It could equalize the load. I'm trying to think about a better way to explain it. I mean, the way I explained it was perfect, but I'm just wondering. I don't know if there is really, especially while driving. I think it's better understood visually, but yeah, I don't know. I think things could be fairer in the future, and it would only be possible with some type of hyper-surveillance AI optimization. Like I said, if everything is tracked and recorded, then everything you do is logged, and then you can cross-compare with other people and see who's working too hard and see who's not working enough, and just fix everything. And yeah, of course, nobody's gonna like this because it's gonna be like horrible. Because right now, a lot of times, you can get away with slacking off. I think a lot of people do. But in the future, you're not just gonna be able to like cut corners, or because everything's just gonna be tracked. I mean, payment. It literally could be like something where you get paid by the second, and every second you're not working, you just aren't getting paid, which is, it's really a way to exploit, really. But I just don't see why a system like that couldn't or wouldn't exist at some point, because there would have to be a way to incentivize people to be productive, and I think that is how that would work. And that seems really exhausting to us at this point where we're at. But I feel like I really wonder how things would be if that was the norm and we were always used to that. Because we're not used to it. We're kind of used to... There's a lot of people that are still bothered by cameras and recording. But I think all that's going to change. I mean, even I am, because I feel like my generation was the hybrid gen with the new and the old. And then some of us are a bit more older, some of us are a bit newer. I'm obviously I was raised probably a bit more retro-y, like, my family was not very futuristic at all, whereas I am, so I kind of think emerging out of that. It's kind of an interesting symbolism, I suppose, because now I would describe myself as a futurist. Just, I don't know, I always loved the future, which is interesting. It's interesting, but most people around me are people from the past, and my family was too, which that's just, like I said, interesting symbolically. I don't think that is without note, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's how things will be, but it's obviously not too beneficial for the worker, because I would assume at most companies, at most jobs, most people are not that productive. So it's a little bit chill, but in the future, you'll have direct consequence to not being productive. And that really will, either the rest of people will change and adapt and overcome, or I guess they won't. And that's scary, obviously. A lot of this stuff is scary. I don't want to act, I guess I act kind of nonchalant about it, but I think that's just because I've come to terms with it, and I think I have a true awareness of the gravity of the situation, because there is an immense gravity to this stuff. I know a lot of people don't think it's going to happen, but I do. And I think it's fairly obvious too. I honestly don't. I mean, even for a while I was like an AI doubter. It kind of seemed like an interesting take to be like, oh, all these people hyping this up and all, what do they know type of stuff. They don't know anything, right? And yeah, no, it was an interesting take for a while, but I don't see why it wouldn't be feasible. Especially now that I heard how eventually the AI is going to be able to help produce itself. And once that happens, I think the acceleration will be pretty steep. I can't see how things aren't going to change pretty dramatically. And I think the people who say it isn't are just not aware of all the culminating factors. There's a lot of things that are just getting way too expensive. Like they're just, I don't even know how most people are going to be able to deal with it. I was just looking at the car, what is it, average or median, I forget, of new car sold versus versus in 2000. And it's doubled. I think it may have even over doubled. And then income has not doubled. Things are just so much harder now than they were in the 2000s. They really are. I think there's a lot of older people or people in general who just have no idea. I mean, people say vague things like stuff's so expensive now, but their comprehension is limited. People just say they're not paid enough, but they don't. People can't hone in on the dollar amounts and stuff. You can't. People don't know what they're saying. I mean, they know it's true, but they wouldn't be able to quantify it for you. So there's a couple things, like I've said before, we are also in a more parasitic economy, so that needs to be noted. There's going to be more, so even if the economy, let's say we take this world we're in right now and directly compare it to the 2000s. Even with as good of an economy as the 2000s had, things would still not work out the same way because there's more temptation nowadays. There's a lot more, I guess, extras that people get addicted to. Stuff like DoorDash, right? Didn't exist back then. And that's a middleman that ends up making the cost go up. So some people who aren't very cognizant or conscious, they're just going to be thinking, oh, DoorDash. Oh, this food cost is expensive. Right, but it's because there's a middleman there that's propping the price up, and in earlier times when there was a better economy, we didn't even have that temptation. So that's why things seemed cheaper in addition to the better economy, is things were more chill. They weren't so crazy. Right, so a lot of this stuff matters. And a lot of people can't even map it out like that, So there's a lot. I think there's a lot to it, really. I do. And a lot of people can't really quantify it or understand it. A lot of people, they still don't even get... I don't know. People don't understand. Oh, that's what I was going to say. How, Social Security works and the rates and things like that. Because everybody knows, well, you know what? Honestly, most people probably don't even know the percentages. But when I'm telling my grandparents, oh, yeah, working 15 an hour, you're losing $100 a month to Medicare and Social Security. No, actually, it might be $100 a check. So it's probably almost, but it's almost. I mean, if you're making like 15 an hour and you're working just flat 40, I think it's right about there. It's like almost $200 a month. It's like 100 something. And then like people hear, oh, that sounds kind of severe. Oh. And then it's like, but they didn't know, apparently. I mean, you know what the percentage is. I know what the percentages are. Isn't it like 4.56 and 2.1? I mean, that's probably not it. It might be like 4.5, 4.65 and 2.1, something like that. But I don't think that's adding up. Yeah. I just know the total 6.7 between the both of them. Is that something people don't know, though? Like, do people not look at their paycheck? I guess not, because anybody I've talked to about this, they don't. It seems like they just don't. I don't know. Like, I asked my sister once, like, how much do you make and how much taxes are taken out of it? And they just didn't know. So this is where I'm talking about, how can you have a democracy or an allegedly well-educated society where people don't know that stuff? Because I think socialism could work, but you would have to have people who were on top of things to maintain a good system, or it would be subject to deterioration just like anything else. Even, you know, I think I've talked about this so many times just because I think it's such an important point. I really think it is. And that's why I don't understand about, I guess, trying to improve things, like trying to improve things. Sorry, I was just, people driving strange. I don't know what's going on. I just could totally forget what I'm saying. Also, it looks like there's traffic. I mean, what is this? What on earth is going on? I guess I have to leave earlier. I guess I do, because I don't, what is this? It's getting worse. Things are getting worse, because it's not a coincidence at this point. I never, ever, never had traffic for this whole time. I never. And now this is literally, I don't understand what is happening. So maybe that slightly earlier I was leaving is necessary. Because it just can't be at this point that I keep getting unlucky. That just can't be. I refuse to believe that. I don't care if it's the truth. You know, you ever feel that way? Like, even if it's true? No, I'm kidding. I mean, if it is true that it's just been, like, poor luck, that's one thing. But I don't think it has been. I think I just need to leave earlier. Like, I think that's the genuine issue right now, which is, again, very strange, because I'm actually, I don't think I can remember there ever being traffic. Like, I don't even think it happened once. It did not even happen once in the morning. Oh my goodness. I just don't know what the world is coming to. And like I've said, it's so inefficient, and it's not about patience. Like, I don't care that I'm getting to work later in terms of, I mean, I got my show. I'm cool. You know, that's not the problem. The problem is I'm burning gas. It's not good for the car. And so it's costing me a lot of money and putting a lot of wear on my car, and I don't get paid extra for sitting in traffic. None of these people do. So I think that's like an important kind of thing to note. I don't know. It's not a good situation, and nobody's doing anything about it. I guess maybe because rich people don't really have to commute. They could just kind of go into work whenever they wanted. I'm assuming that's what. Because the CEOs, yeah, they either could come in. They could just make their own time. So you either could come in after everybody's in or before. Like if you're the CEO of the company, you could be coming in at 5 a.m. and then there's not going to be any traffic. And then if you're... Or you could come in at 10 a.m. after all the rush hour is gone. You could do whatever you want. So traffic is a working class issue, and that's why I think it's just not really getting solved, because there's no... I guess I don't really think there's any incentive. There's not incentive for legislators to really look into it. There's no anti-traffic lobby. And again, if anything, there would be people who would want traffic, right? The gas stations like traffic because it's not good for fuel economy. And then the car companies like traffic because it wears the car down faster. So then you have to go to the repair shop more and buy more cars. So is that really dark intent? I don't know. I'm kind of conspiracizing right now. I don't know that it's intentional conspiracy. But I think I'm making some points that that's sort of why it's the case. Then you have the other issue where we're not taxing enough. Like taxes probably aren't high enough, so you have, we can't build more infrastructure because a lot of people in America complain about taxes. I'm actually pretty pro-tax. I know that's something that maybe a lot of people don't agree with, but I think it makes sense. And the reason why is because it depends on what the government's doing with it, I guess. But I think taxes are good. I don't know. I don't know why. When I was younger, I didn't. When I was younger, I kind of held that aggressive, like, anti-tax opinion. But I think taxes can be good. I think maybe the government in its current form is not very good at the implementation, which is why Americans don't see the point in taxes. And even like a lot of countries, I don't think there's any leadership, even worldwide, that's particularly good at these kind of things. So, there's not a super good example of what I'm saying, but you definitely could have a government that prioritizes research and a lot of good things, and I trust that more than people. Like, I don't think people having money themselves makes as much sense. But you have to have a smart government, and I guess that's the whole conundrum, because a lot of governments end up not... Because, again, okay, government, it's based on people voting and, who are people voting for. It's usually somebody based on some kind of popularity contest thing. But I think this conversation's getting a little bit crazy. So I'm going to try to wrap it up to what the original point was about taxes. And yeah, I think I'm a pro-tax kind of person. I think taxes are good. Because if you have a bunch of crumbling infrastructure, that doesn't make any sense. Because it ends up costing more. And it's like secret costs that are real and true, but I guess a lot of people don't realize them or something, and so that's why everybody in America is just clamoring for lower taxes and not realizing what that actually entails and the consequences of that. And how it's kind of like better for the present and worse for the future. That's kind of, I guess, how low taxes are, because it is true that in the short term, it does, it does make things better in the short term. Because, infrastructure is not going to immediately degrade or anything like that. So you'll still have good functioning roads for a while. But eventually they will. But in the short term, yes, cutting taxes is obviously great, because you still can hold on to the pre-existing infrastructure that had a higher tax model, and then you just get a bunch of growth influx and people have more money. But then for the future generation, they'll just have to deal with that. The fact that now stuff's not getting maintained properly because we cut taxes and don't want to do it anymore. You see what I mean? So that's just a quick rundown. But yeah, I used to be very low tax kind of guy when I was a teenager. But I'm kind of realizing now that's not even like a special opinion to have. I think most people don't like taxes. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say what I'm saying. So yeah, I think it's true. I mean, taxes are good. And that I've definitely I did a 180 on, throughout my life. But I can't see why they wouldn't just be a good medium. But again, there's caveats to it, because I think the argument could be made, well, I think the libertarian argument is, well, is it really possible to have a good government, or will the government be subject to inefficiencies? And then you have to tax extra to have institutions in place within the government to vet things and audit things and make sure everything's okay. Like, it typically requires more larger government to actually vet and audit stuff, which that is, again, counterintuitive to what a lot of the libertarian thought is, because libertarians just want to shrink it. But then when you shrink it, it's actually harder to audit things. But anyways, I think a lot of people don't really see the real world implications or consequences of policy opinions they have. Yeah, the traffic is pretty bad. I honestly think I need to consider just leaving earlier. I just have no idea what's going on, but the days where there's no cars, I'm doing better. Like, those are better days. I know, like, there's less shifts going on in the car. I know there's less wear on the engine and all that stuff. I just know it. So it is what it is, I guess this is what we have to deal with. But I do want to try to leave earlier, I guess, because it's just not worth it. It's just crazy, because I already leave so early, It's like, could I be caught a break? Of course not, right? It's like, even right now, struggling to find okay, good. That's actually interesting. I wonder if I actually need to let my RPMs get even higher, because I don't know if that's a fluke, but I'll continue to try that out. It seems like the shifting is even smoother. And I don't want people to say, yeah, no kidding, dude. Like, of course. No, because this car is in auto shift so low. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know if I need to. No, I don't need to shift lower, but. Yeah, these autos are horrible, man. I don't. Oh, right, I forgot. I was gonna experiment with kind of leaving the recording running and getting a little extra content in. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit for me to get used to, of course, but I think in time it just kind of makes sense to maximize. I don't know, because I'm here, I'm recording anyway, but it just yeah, I don't know. I might as well, because I would just stop recording when I kind of got near. But now I think I should just do the whole thing. Because is there really a reason not to? I don't think so. But it'll just take a little bit to get used to it, because I kind of have to do some multitasking, like when I park and stuff like that. And the quality goes down a little bit. So, I mean, maybe you could argue it's not working or something. And now, of course, I'm getting hit with the you have to sign back in again thing. So we have to figure this out really quickly. But at least now it's finally over with, because at least been telling you for a while, guys, that this could happen. But of course it's on the day I'm already like way too late. It couldn't have been on. Yeah, I mean, what else is new? Because I was already running late. And then, yeah, it's just, yeah, because it should have happened. It would have been ideal to happen on an earlier time slot day, because just numbers, how numbers work. But, yeah, I don't know, man, like. What else is new? The worst timing, right? I wish I could just keep talking all day, honestly. That would be, like, pretty cool, but people would think I'd go crazy walking around with this microphone all day. I think it's about time to wrap it up. Like I said, things are really late today and all that stuff, so I really do appreciate my fans. I appreciate my fans, but it's been schla and it's now time to buy schla. So see ya, schla.